Okay. What's going on, everybody? My name is Mangg. Welcome back to Hanging with Mangg. We're just going to play a little bit of Elden Ring, not the DLC, for those avoiding any spoilers. We're just going to roam around and kill stuff. And that's it. So yeah, I have been playing quite a bit of Elden Ring. I'm not quite done with the DLC, but I am quite close. I think I maybe got just like 2 or 3 more videos to go. It's definitely been pretty lengthy, but it has been fun. I've been enjoying it, so. That will continue to be uploaded for a while, for sure. And then what else have we got going on? Pathfinder, Abomination Vaults. I knew that that was never going to be super popular, viewership-wise. But I recorded a lot of it, and I enjoyed doing so. So, I feel like I may as well upload it. And then that's kind of it, really. You know, Lego and I have been doing more Archipelago on stream. That's been good. But, I don't know. Probably do another solo Archipelago at some point. And, yeah, I'm not really sure what else is coming out that I would be interested in doing a Let's Play of. Sucks. So, you know, just Elden Ring and Pathfinder for a while here. But I would like to... Yeah, you know, I wanted to do another Factorio thing. Like a Factorio mod sort of overhaul playthrough. So I did start recording one for freight forwarding. But it was just like... Factorio's kind of rough, because unless you really edit... And I've been watching a channel that does like edited Factorio stuff. And he even had to say, like, how much work it is to edit. Because you're talking just hours upon hours of footage that you're cutting down to show, like, 3 seconds, you know? It's like, and here I did this, you know? So if you don't do that, it's just hours of footage, or... What I was doing was just like, okay, I'm gonna play for, like, 2 hours, here you go, and we accomplished, like, one thing. And then, okay, well, I'm going to work on this in my own time, and then I play for, like, 20 hours. Come back, and, okay, here's what I did, and here's another couple hours of gameplay. I don't know. Freight forwarding ended up being just kind of a little annoying in the later game. So I pretty much abandoned it. And then I did just sort of another vanilla thing that I didn't record, and I just played, and I played for like 40 hours. My message was a praise. Wow. So I don't know. I mean, I'd still like to get something related to Factorio up, but it might just be Archipelago stuff. I also said I wanted to get back to BattleTech. That was a fun game when I wanted to do one of the big overhaul mods for that. But yeah, I don't know. Right now, you know, I've been recording a lot of Elden Ring. So once that's done, I might just chill for a bit. Yeah. That's kind of all there is to say about this channel. Game am I excited for next year? Doom the Dark Age. Oh, show. Yeah, like I don't really pay attention anymore to like games that are a year out. Like most games, I see an announcement, and then it just kind of leaves my brain until it's out or about to come out. But yeah, I mean, I remember being in like high school and stuff, and it's just like all you did was just like obsess for every aspect. You'd argue with people over the best console. Such an innocent time. Yeah, I don't know. I play stuff as it comes out. I don't really watch trailers or anything. Like, I didn't see a single trailer for the Elden Ring DLC. Over on the Exploring series, I put out a video. On the Birch Knight and the Game of Three Chestnuts, which I really enjoyed as an article. I think a lot of people enjoyed it. I think probably the title and the thumbnail scared some people off. People that are there for the hardcore horror sort of grim dark stuff, because it is not grim dark horror, but it's good SCP writing for sure. And but for those that do like a little grim dark horror, this week I worked on a new DJ Cactus SCP. A pseudo rewrite, class of 76, titled 1976. usual class of 76 goodness. Yeah, it was a good one. And speaking of DJ Cactus, a while back, when I was into the old gods of Appalachia, I mentioned how it would be kind of cool to do something like that myself, to have like a horror podcast that wasn't connected to SCP at all. But obviously I'm no writer. And the Old Gods of Appalachia is primarily, a two-person team. So I would need a writer, and I said it would be kind of cool to get DJ Cactus involved, because he's my favorite SCP author. So I finally messaged him about that, and it's pretty unusual for me to message somebody about anything. But I figured, fuck it, because I was working on the DJ Cactus SCP. So, alright, I'll give him a message. And so I basically, explained that to him and said that I know that he's, like, retiring from SCP writing, but I wasn't sure that extended to all SCP, or all writing. And I told him about that idea, and I asked if he might be interested. And he responded with, yes. But, and I don't know how public this information is, or, if he doesn't want people knowing it or anything. It seems fairly innocuous, but you never know. Between you and I. He said he's moving to Iceland. He's in the process of moving to Iceland. And I didn't pry or anything as to why or what's going, whatever. It's a pretty unusual country for someone to say they're moving to. But I'd like to visit Iceland. So yeah, he said yes, but he's in the process of doing that, so he, obviously hasn't done much of any writing lately. And he was gonna check out Old Gods of Appalachia and get back. But he said doing something not related to SCP would be a nice change of pace. So yeah, I mean, we're both fans of each other's work. So I think it would be a pretty good match. And, obviously I said it doesn't have to be like rural sort of folk horror. It doesn't have to be like Old Gods of Appalachia, but it probably should be horror related. And I'm sure he's got ideas spinning around in his brain for horror stuff that does not have to be connected to SCP. It's like the Cactusverse stuff. You could easily take that out of SCP. Not that I want to do a podcast based on that. I mean, I'd like to see the end of that. But, no, this would be something fresh. So I hadn't replied after that for a few days. But, there's no rush. Well, whatever. And I told him that, we'd make a, do a podcast out of it, and we'd just split the income 50-50. Although I did say that probably if it is like an ongoing thing that has some success, we'd probably want to get an editor on board, because I do not like editing and I'm not very good at it. So getting like an actual editor on board, like an audio kind of, you know, person, they could put in sound effects and all that sort of stuff, audio little cues, and maybe like down the line get other voice actors on board, which is, I mean, basically what Old Gods of Appalachia did. Yeah, I mean, it could be fun, and it could be profitable, and it could be, you know, just a good thing. So we'll see what comes of all that. I wouldn't, like, expect anything. No expectations, no disappointment. But, yeah, I mean, I reached out, and he is interested, so that's a good start. Do I think the Twilight Zone is close to the SCP Foundation? I don't know. I've never seen the Twilight Zone. I think maybe it's close to the SCP universe. But I don't think the Twilight Zone is an organization dedicated to containing anomalies. So that's what's all going on there. We had our big climactic finale, sort of, for this 13th Age campaign that I'm running. I mean, this campaign has been kind of all over the place, and there hasn't really been any sort of central theme except for the past, you know, couple months or so when they've been on this scavenger hunt. But I think overall for the story and for the players, I was able to turn their failure with Lost Mines of Phandelver into something exciting and unique. You know, where they had this fun scavenger hunt across the continent, and the big climactic finale was this grand ritual at the crater where the demons are started pouring out, threatening to invade the entire world. So yeah, I mean, we sat down, and it was pretty much like they arrived at the crater the day of the ritual and all that, and here we go. We're doing the crazy big battle, a series of battles. My favorite Vincent Price movie. I don't know if I've ever seen a Vincent Price movie. I'm trying to think if I've ever seen a Vincent Price. I mean, I know who he is, obviously. Damn. What is it, the Necronomicon? Gosh, they're all over the place. The Necronomicon is a fictional tome of eldritch knowledge penned by the mad Arab Abdul al-Hazred, who was torn to shreds in broad daylight due to the forbidden knowledge he had gained. I like Chevy Chase. I don't know. I like Fletch, I guess. My favorite band, Nirvana. No. My favorite band is Breaking Benjamin. Who I'm sure cite Nirvana as an influence. So yeah, I mean, basically the whole session was just the series of battles. Technically, I think it was 4 battles. And I had prepared it ahead of time, I didn't wing it. But balance is so tricky, you know? Balance is really tricky. It's not a video game. And, you know, a lot depends on how rolls go and how good the party is tactically. And, you know, unless you play test the encounters with multiple groups and stuff, it's kind of hard to know. You know, a good RPG, obviously, will have encounter guidelines and encounter builders so that you can make some best guess estimations as to what will be balanced. But my party isn't very good, so I took that into account. But then everybody that all the info I've seen about 1st edition 13th Age is that it's a very easy system as far as combat is concerned, except at high levels. So I was like, okay, so this is going to be pretty easy, apparently. But they're pretty bad, so I don't know. We'll try and just balance this out. So the first battle was the hell bugs. So I had a bunch of hell wasps, boom bugs, hook scuttlers, and honestly, that was probably like their hardest fight of the 4, which was not my intention. It was supposed to be like the easiest, but they really did not plan well. You know, I let them kind of pick their own positions around the crater, obviously. But they, for some reason... I had a cool battle map on Foundry on the table. I had a cool battle map with a big crater with, like, a swirling light in it. And then I had Artemis nearby with, like, swirling rainbow lights around him as he does this ritual. And they had to protect him. And, I let them pick their own positions. And then, like, as soon as the combat starts and the monsters come out of the crater, they're like, oh, that's where the crater is. It's like, my god, what can you do with these people? So then they all suddenly, like, backed up, and they left one guy, my brother-in-law, just out front by the crater, so he gets swarmed. Actually, I think it might have been my aunt that got swarmed pretty badly. She had, like, 6 things on her. So combat went on from there, and, you know, they don't have a dedicated healer, so that's already a little rough for this kind of system. It really helps to have a dedicated healer. They do have, a wizard. He used... I let him pick some level 3s, because they leveled up to 3 right before the fight. So I'm like, okay, you can have a couple level 3 spells. Technically, he was supposed to have 4 in 1st edition, but in 2nd edition, his spells just kind of level up as he goes, and I was like, we're just going to split the difference. I didn't... You know, they're not making their own characters. They're not leveling up their own characters. I didn't want to reprint all their sheets and do all that work for one fight, so I just said, fuck it, here's the 1st edition book. Pick a couple 3rd level spell. And I didn't really see what he picked. But I can tell you that he only used 2 spells. Now, I think he may have used a 3rd spell at the very end. But for most of the combat, he used 1 spell. Ray of Frost. You know, his basic at-will spell. He used that every single turn. throughout all 4 battles. Except for, like, basically the first and the last turn. The first turn, he used some sort of teleporting shield ability. Which, I don't remember exactly what it does, but something like, if an enemy moves to engage him, he can then, like, strike it and cause it to teleport away. I'm like, okay, it's a defensive spell, that's fine. I suppose. Except he stayed all the way in the back. So, only one enemy engaged him throughout the entire night. And when it did, he forgot to use it. Brilliant. The other one, the one he used on the last turn, was like a lightning chain, some sort of lightning spell. Powerful spell that he missed with. And, I mean, don't get me wrong, Ray of Frost is a pretty good spell. I mean, he's hitting for 4d8. And if you roll well and don't take averages, I mean, you can certainly do quite a bit of damage to one target every turn. But it is one target, and they were kind of getting swarmed. So, anyways. So they had that, and then they have, like, rangers that constantly get engaged by enemies, because of course. And then they don't try and disengage. They just stand there and try and hit them with their daggers over and over. Basically, their victory came down to my aunt, who plays a barbarian. And the barbarian in 13th Age is quite powerful. Pretty simply, barbarian has a chance, start of every turn, to go into a rage. And the chance for it kind of increases as the battle goes on if she's not already in a rage. And once in a rage, if she hits on an attack and the result of her dice rolls an odd number, she crits. So, the barbarian is a crit machine. Especially because if you end up rolling really well on your chance to go into a rage, you go into a mega rage. On which, for like the rest of combat, you roll twice for every attack and can choose which one you want to use. So you like double your chance of critting. And of course, wielding like a big two-handed axe and all that. Especially if you just sit there and take the average every time. She was critting for 50 damage. Which was kind of like how much health each enemy had, at most. And then if you have mooks that are just, the pool of kind of minion enemies, she could easily wipe out like 3 or 4 mooks in one hit, or one crit. So she basically won them the whole battle at the end, by like critting 3 times in a row and just destroying everything. And it's like, all right, she had her moment in the sun, I suppose. So yeah, the first was against the Hellbugs. Then I had some demons, just some like basic imps and sort of little pink demons and yeah, that kind of stuff. And then the third battle, I wanted to switch it up a little bit, so I had these like demon drakes come out that could breathe fire and fly in and fly over the front line and stuff. And, the enemies were like, some of them were just going after the front line, some of them were a bit more intelligent and were trying to hit the back line. Some of them were actually going for Artemis and his shield as he's casting the ritual, because they knew that they kind of had to protect him, so they made a big deal about, like, oh shit, they're hitting his shield. Like, it was kind of exciting for that. There wasn't really much threat of them breaking through, but I wanted them to think there was. what edition am I playing that lets that happen? That's 13th Age. Second edition changes the way rage works a little bit. So, after each battle, then, they got a quick rest. And they kind of knew that after the first one, but they still weren't using, like, many of their once per battle stuff. And then my plan was that they would be kind of drained after the 3 hard battles, and then I would give them a full heal up. And, like, fully bring them back to full for the big finale with, like, a Balrog coming out and stuff. But, honestly, they were doing kind of okay. Like, I could have made it harder. But like I said, balance is a tricky thing. So, they were doing okay, and they really had almost used none... They had almost used none of their once per arc stuff. Their daily stuff. So I said, meh, okay, we'll just do another quick rest and on to the finale. And I made it clear that it was the finale, and the image that I used on Foundry was of, like, a Balrog, but it was actually a bearded devil. So it was pretty tough. I mean, it hit for 30 damage, which was, like, over half their health. But at the end of the day, there was only one of them. Had I probably should have put in 2, and then that would have really made them shit their pants. That would have been way more interesting, probably, but I wasn't sure. And then I also had some reinforcements, some other little demons come in. And, like I said, the Barbarian went on a crit spree, so it wasn't too much trouble. But they enjoyed it, and it was somewhat climactic, and they were all cheering on the Barbarian, so it was all good. So yeah, none of them went... I think... Well, a couple of them went down, I think, during the battles. But no one died. And they all enjoyed it. And so that was it. They saved the day. They saved the world. Artemis gave them all castles and titles afterwards. You know, and they were set for life. And that was the end of that little... our campaign. So now next week we're gonna start a fresh one, and I told them, you know, I gave them a sheet of paper that has all the possible classes and races on it to get them thinking about what they might want to play. And all I said was, I don't want anyone playing the same class that they are right now, which I think is pretty reasonable to ask. And ordinarily I would never need or care to say such a thing, but they've all kind of fit into these same roles every time we've played D&D, so I want them to branch out maybe just a little. And then I have to come up with some sort of new campaign. And I'm not really sure what to do with it. I thought about running, you know, Eyes of the Stone Thief, the big 13th Age campaign, but it's honestly too big. We probably won't ever finish it, and I don't think they'll really appreciate all the aspects of it. So, probably not worth running. So I'm sure it'll just be kind of a homebrew thing that I put together. I'm just not sure about how to start it or what the theme is going to be. Yeah, I've got this pretty cool setting, so I kind of want to involve a different continent. Maybe, you know, the On the Backs of Gods stuff in the other continent. That could be interesting. I don't know. Maybe I want to do something with the cosmic horror, or I don't know. Maybe, like, when I asked Lego what he would like to see in a campaign, he mentioned, like, weird, you know, alien kind of extraterrestrial enemies and plots and stuff. So maybe. And everyone clapped. Yeah, pretty much, actually. They definitely are the type of group that will clap. So, yeah. It's a very, very simple game we're playing here. I don't know. I want to do some kind of exciting start. You know, when I used to play, I definitely remember the more exciting starts rather than, you know, you start in a tavern kind of stuff. I remember when we started on a boat, you know, sailing across the ocean, and there was some sort of eldritch abomination in a cell in the lower levels of the boat, or when we started in a prison. We were imprisoned by some dwarves in a mountain. So I don't know. I'd like to come up with something somewhat unique. They're definitely not a group that minds being railroaded, so I can pretty much do whatever I want, as long as I guide them along. We'll see. Yeah, so I think that'll about do it. So yeah, more Elden Ring, Shadow of the Erdtree, more Pathfinder, Abomination Vaults, and a little bit of Class of 76 action over on the Exploring series. Good stuff. For now, though, my name is Mangg. This has been Hanging with Mangg. And I'll see you fine folks next week.